Testing. Can you hear me? Yes, you are correct. There is no special intro video today. My apologies. I'm slacking. Um, but really, I didn't set the fan to oscillate. Um, really, whenever Dean gave me the Volume 3 OSW logo, I ended up just pretty much putting together that whole intro video for next year. So that's what I did instead of this. Sorry. But what you guys are seeing now is actually a preview of the Volume 3 studio. I don't know what I'm calling this scene, but it's the I guess the pre-show. But you'll see more of this little globe thing type deal next month at Red Snow, whenever we unveil that. And it won't have this OSW logo over there. Man, it's really hard to point just looking at yourself in a camera. That OSW logo. So, yep. Oh, sweet. Thanks for the follow, Cave Gaming. Stadium Arcadia, yes. Before we get started, Alex Smiley Plays, thank you for the resub. That's 31 months. Baskin Robbins, baby. Jensen Cussin for 21 months, that tier 1 subscription. And for Ollie with the 5-bit cheer. Awesome. So we'll go ahead and get into the show. I've got it. Woohoo! Look at that. 20 months in a row. From Mr. 1973 Nova 1973. That's some good repetition there. Thank you very much for that, Dawson. We're going to get started on this. I've got this show. The time I was setting this up, I probably could have read it if I was Rob, but as it was, I just got to the logo at the start. So I have no idea what we're going to have. Let me switch over and see if I pick the right one, the right scene. I think it should be this one. All right. Okay. Everything looks good. Sweet. So here we are, Dead End. This is the penultimate big live event, or the penultimate pay-per-view event, if you want to call it that, premium live event, whatever you want to call it. Big show before the finale of the season, of the volume, and really of the Earth 616 based OSW. This will kind of conclude everything, and Volume 3, as everybody knows, will not take place in the world that we're inhabiting now. They'll take place in Arcadia. Maybe there'll end up being some link, maybe there won't. I ain't got no idea. We'll find that out all together. So we're going to go through here. We're going to go through Dead End, see how long it takes us. Want to apologize for being an hour later than usual. I had some family obligations to take care of today, and so we set it back a little bit. I know Dean's already gone to bed, so we can say whatever we want to about him. Of course, only nice things. I think I have my setup the way I want it. Yeah, Dean's played that any sort of relation pretty close to the vest, which kind of makes me think there may end up being one, but I don't think it'll be probably what any of us expect. All right, so let's do it. Dead End. We've got, I think, a bunch of matches for this show. Maybe more than usual, so we'll see how long we're here. The big show before the season finale is usually always big anyway, because we've got all the revelations and everything kicking us in, but we're really past the point of holding anything back. I would imagine tonight we're going to get some answers to some big questions that we've had. Maybe not some of the biggest ones, but we're going to know where we're going into Red Snow. So I think it's pretty awesome. We'll see what we get. First segment is one of the World Tag Team Champions, Ether, segment entitled Begging for Help. Demo does not like being in the first segment. As always, static, covering the screen, a play symbol in the bottom right-hand corner. We're in an alleyway in the middle of the night. That's never good. The lights are dim and there's hardly any traffic in New York City, with most people long in bed sleeping. Ether, however, stands in the middle of the alley waiting for someone to approach. Whenever they do arrive, they stay shrouded in darkness. Ooh, look at that. I didn't realize that this guy down here in the corner with the sub scrolled over. Need to fix that. Anyway. Hello, dear wife and family, surely watching from somewhere. Hope you all are enjoying your evening upstairs. Suddenly feel self-conscious. So, either way, Ether is waiting for someone to approach. Oh, it's not my wife, it's my daughter. Hello, Evie. How are you, dear? You missed Ollie. Ollie was on here earlier. She gave me some bits. So, there we go. Now I'm going to get back to this show. So, Ether is waiting on someone to approach. When they arrive, they're actually shrouded in darkness. They say, "What do you want?" They have a familiar voice. "Why shouldn't I just fucking kill you?" Ether just shuffles slightly and says, "Where's Tag?" Or no, she doesn't say it. The darkness figure says it. "Where's Tag?" Ready to jump out and attack? "He's not here. He doesn't even know I am," she replies, looking around too. "I think he'd be fucking pissed if he knew I was meeting with you. I asked you here because I need help." The man turns and laughs, beginning to walk away. "Fuck off," he replies through chuckling. "Wait," Ether yells, almost begging. "Please, you have no idea what we're going through." The man stops. "No idea?" he says angrily. "You've got some balls on you, girl." I don't think she does. "Please, just help us. You know I wouldn't be here if I wasn't desperate," she begs, grabbing him by the arm. "You can find out the truth. Isn't that what you used to do?" Ooh. This, to me, feels like we're about to see a returning character of some kind. You can find out the truth. Isn't that what you used to do? The man stops for a second and thinks about it. "What's in it for me?" "I don't know," she says carefully, "but it could be the end of this entire mess. It could be an opportunity for a new beginning. It could just fuck shit up. Wouldn't you like that?" Silence. "Wouldn't you?" she asks again. "You see me messing with something up here. I'm trying to get my little USB fan to turn on, but it's not wanting to do it." Okay, there we go. First segment. Turios versus a mystery opponent. And I assume Turios is how you say that. I actually have no idea if I'm saying it wrong. My apologies if I am saying it wrong. Turios came to Dead End looking for a fight, but who's his mystery opponent? He stands in the ring facing the stage in anticipation of his opponent's entrance. The lights go out. Darkness, a dense fog rolls through the stage, and emerging from it is someone who looks very familiar to Turios indeed. He gets a closer glimpse as his opponent makes his way down the ramp. Long blonde hair and a scar spanning his entire face. Is it going to be his twin? His opponent now stands face to face with him. And it's confirmed Turios' mystery opponent is none other than himself. The opponent ties up with Turios, and the two go at it with lefts and rights in a brawl. He throws a wild right lariat. This is very interesting. You know, I have always wanted a good mirror match. He throws a wild right lariat, which his opponent ducks, then turns around into a gut punch. His opponent lifts him up over his shoulder. He runs across the ring and power slams Turios to the mat. Calls that hell-bound. The opponent slammed Turios down with fervor, but he doesn't let up, whipping Turios into the corner, following up with a massive lariat that briefly lifts the Demon of Souls off his feet. Turios is pinned against the turnbuckles, and the opponent is unleashing a fury of repeated punches and kicks over and over again, as Turios slides down into a seated position and then flat on the mat, as Turios fades into unconsciousness. And then his eyes open, and he's laying in the middle of the ring alone. He looks around confused, no opponent in sight. Your winner is Turios. That was weird as hell. It's Shang Tsung. All right. Very, very interesting. So was that in his head or what? I guess we'll have to wait and see. All right, up next we've got a segment with the Dead and Kane Nightlord entitled No Hero. Yes, GG's to Turios. We cut backstage, where we see Banzan heading towards the entranceway, ready to take on Kane Nightlord, when he stops in his tracks, looking around as he senses someone's presence. Nightlord? From down the hall, the Hellbat stares down his foe, but before he proceeds, he's interrupted by a voice calling from behind. Don't you dare. Kane turns around, finding himself face to face with a man that has interfered in his affairs the past few weeks. The Dead. What do you want? Kane snaps at him with a snarl, which draws a glare from the Dead, who remains silent, much to the chagrin of Nightlord. You've been keeping me from building my army, and I demand some answers. The face of the Dead finally softens just slightly as he speaks up, his voice firm and unwavering. Kane, I've been keeping an eye on you, and I may be no hero, but I also can't stand by and let men like you destroy this world. This causes something inside Nightlord to snap, as the Hellbat lunges at the Watcher, taking a bite into the skin. He's feasting on the Dead, tearing into the flesh to quench his bloodlust, before finally taking a break, staring down at his victim, who pulls himself away, glaring as a sign of the pain not affecting him, even if the bleeding is. His snarl fades into a wicked smile as he wipes some of the blood from his mouth, watching as the man once known as Painkiller manages to escape any further torture, only to hear his initial target call out. Nightlord, it's me you're after, isn't it? That smile turns into a nasty grin as Kane turns around, charging at full speed towards the indestructible mountain, and the momentum sends both men barreling through the entranceway and out to the ringside area. Well, look at that. The Dead, who can take anything, got his ass chewed up. Here we go, into a match. Banzan, Nightlord. Kane Nightlord has been stalking Banzan, aiming to make him a part of his army, and as the pair continue to brawl, they eventually find themselves in the ring to do battle here at Dead End. They come to blows right away, with Kane doing everything in his power to wear down the indestructible mountain, only for Banzan to stand his ground, sending Nightlord to the ropes instead, except that Nightlord avoids a clothesline attempt on the rebound, instead using his momentum to catch Banzan in a neckbreaker from behind that sends the mountain crashing hard into the canvas. Kane follows this up with some hard punches to the skull of Banzan before rising to his feet and goading Banzan to stand as well. Banzan slowly but surely manages to get to a vertical pace of his own, only for Nightlord to rush him with another flurry of offense, sending the mountain towards the turnbuckle. Kane charges towards his prone foe, but Banzan narrowly avoids the shadow bat as he flies into the turnbuckle with a thud. This gives Banzan an opening. He hoists Nightlord off his feet, dropping him head first to the canvas with a Saito suplex. That's the Duka. Suffering exists all right, and Nightlord is feeling it as the mountain is now in control of this match. Banzan stays on the attack with some kicks, but the Hellbat is already starting to get back to his feet. He goes for the palm strike, but Nightlord dodges it before grabbing the mountain's arm. Ripcord clothesline, the bloody stream flows. No, the mountain slips out before Kane can deliver that lariat, but the Dark Detective catches him off guard with a clothesline. Banzan reels back, but he's not down just yet. This raises the ire of Nightlord, who rushes Banzan once again, this time biting his forehead. It's just a bite. Kane, he can feel that blood rust rising at the start of the crimson mass starting to form on Banzan's face, but the mountain's still got plenty of fight left in him. He charges back with some heavy palm strikes, eventually sending Nightlord to the ropes. A JoJo reference. Okay. Where was I at? There we go. He sends Nightlord to the ropes. The mountain finally gets a chance to take his namesake pose, meditating as he takes a seat cross-legged in the middle of the ring. He's drawing from the wellspring. The purple haze begins to surround Banzan, allowing them to recover and heal, even just a little, as he wipes something, blood presumably, from his forehead, before slowly getting back to his feet. But that moment of healing also gives Nightlord a chance to leave the ring, making Bonzen wonder where the Shadow Bat has disappeared to. And Kane answers the question by blindsiding him with a forearm. Kane eventually sends the Mountain down to one knee, giving him exactly the opening he desires as he once again grabs Bonzen's arm, this time pulling the demigod in as he locks in a Gogoplata, the Crimson Vow. Even with Bonzen healed slightly, Night Lord cinches the hold in tight in the hopes of making the Mountain submit to his will. We can see Bonzen struggling to get back to a standing position before finally getting back to both feet. He lifts up Night Lord, shocked as he tries to hold the lock in tight, before being slammed into the canvas, his back taking the full brunt of the punishment. This forces Kane to break the hold as he struggles to get back up from that modified powerbomb. Kane starts to get to his feet, but he drops down to a knee, and that's exactly what Bonzen needs. He runs towards the Hellbat, knee strike to the temple, Maga! The enlightened path has been followed, and Bonzen looks to end the suffering as he goes for the cover. 1, 2, 3! After weeks of being pursued by the Hellbat, Bonzen has seemingly put a stop to Kane Night Lord's attempts to forcibly recruit him. All right. Fun little match there. Damo, do you want to know what the funny thing is? We normally have drawn-out counts in our matches, and I thought I was going to be like the match I actually wrote. I wrote a match, right? Has a quick count like that in it, which you'll see later. But so I'm amused to see this here. Congratulations to Bonzen. Drew from the Wellspring. And here we are. Got a segment with Zero and Hollywood Luke Storm entitled Chase Scene. Okay. Tires squeal as we find ourselves viewing the streets of New York from up high. Two cars run rampant through the streets, weaving in and out of traffic, careening into alleyways and popping out the other side. In front is a vintage blue 1969 Camaro that seems to be just barely outrunning a red 2022 Dodge Challenger. The Challenger bumps the back of the Camaro, causing them to swerve slightly before they take a sharp turn down a ramp into an underground parking garage. The Challenger flies past the opening and is forced to make a U-turn. Meanwhile, the scene goes underground, where we find ourselves viewing it all through the grainy feed of a security camera that looks over the parking garage. The Slaughterhouse's parking garage. With a screech, the Camaro swerves, skidding to a halt against the far wall of the garage. The driver kicks open the door, stumbling out and shaking off the cobwebs of the sudden stop. Son of them Luke Storm, the A-lister seemingly pulling an OJ. That's O.J. Simpson, for you younger folks out there, as he looks around the garage for an exit. When the sounds of the Challenger echo off those cement walls, Luke narrowly jumps out of the way as the Challenger races towards him, and it crashes. The Camaro's flattened against the wall. The Challenger just turned 2 tons of steel into a fucking pancake. Luke makes way for an exit, heading deeper into the slaughterhouse as the door of the Challenger gets torn off its hinges by its driver. Zero steps out into the frame, tossing the door of his car into the concrete floor. "You're running out of places to hide, Luke? Only place you can run to is that ring, motherfucker." With those words, Zero walks towards where Luke went, sneering the whole way. The chase, finally, is coming to an end. But not next. There'll be another segment next. Look at this. We got a pirate. We got 2 religious boys. We got Israel Grimwolf versus Vaikra in a 2-on-1 handicap match. It was such a good setup. Loved the chase sequence. My boy's going to get his ass kicked. But we'll see here. Is the pirate going to win out 2-on-1? 2/3 of Vaikra meet Israel Grimwolf in a handicap match, steeped in personal grievance and history. Can he outlast the numbers and take the fight to Sir Gable? Gable starts opposite Grimwolf. The pair lock horns and scramble across the ring. Grimwolf powers over Gable. Not Cable, it's Gable. Forcing him into the corner away from the waiting Renault. Short arm clothesline sends Gable staggering into the turnbuckle. Israel Grimwolf is taking the fight to Gable, opening up with a series of knife-edge chops to the chest. The slaps echo about the slaughterhouse. Quick timeout. Will someone get a list of who wrote all these matches so that we can properly thank them as we go? I didn't think about doing that, but we'll get back to it. The slaps echo about the slaughterhouse, from those knife-edged chops to the chest. Gable manages to escape, though, pushing Grimwolf away and creating a little breathing room. Grimwolf was soon as approaching him, right again. That didn't come out right at all. Grimwolf is soon approaching him again, but Gable scoops him up and drops him with a side slam. Grimwolf rolls to ringside after the impact, leaving Vikra in the ring waiting. Gable shoots a look at Renault, who darts around the side of the ring apron and leaps off towards the King of the Seven Seas. The crossbody dive to Grimwolf. No! Grimwolf caught him. He slams Renault into the back of the ring post. Renault crumples to a heap. Grimwolf slides back into the ring where Gable's waiting for him. A couple of right hands softens Grimwolf up before Gable hoists his foe up. Gorilla press slam, a show of power from the former Olympian. Grimwolf lands hard. Gable creates a little distance between he and Grimwolf, waiting for the pirate to stagger to a vertical base. The gold rush, the lifting spear, it nearly took him out of his boots. Gable goes for the pin. 1, 2, no! Kick out from Grimwolf. Both men stagger to their feet with Gabriel. Man, I cannot say Gable correctly today. With Gable just beating Grimwolf. He lines his foe up for another strike, but Grimwolf ducks the incoming clothesline. Keelhauled! The roaring elbow, it sends Gable staggering backwards across the ring. Tag! Gable collapses into his corner. Renault's tagged in. Renault starts by climbing the turnbuckle from the apron. Missile dropkick! He nails the approaching Grimwolf right in the jaw and takes him down. Grimwolf's back to his feet relatively quickly, but looking a little groggy. Renault scoops him up into the crucifix powerbomb position. Yawesome bomb! I guess that's how you're supposed to say that. He tossed Grimwolf out of the ring like a frickin' lawn dart. Grimwolf has been heave-hoed overboard. He slams into the ground and comes to rest in a heap at ring size. Feeling that momentum, the 2/3 of Vikra climb a turnbuckle each. They direct themselves to the outside. Double diving elbows. Vikra drive themselves right into the heart of Israel Grimwolf. High risk, high reward. Gable pulls himself to his feet. He grabs Grimwolf, rolling him into the ring while Renault crawls inside himself. Before Grimwolf can so much as breathe, Renault's got him wrapped up in the crucifix submission choke. Chastity, the pentangle. Grimwolf must have nothing left. Surely this is going to do it. Grimwolf is looking weary, but he doesn't tap out. He grabs the ring ropes, and the ref enforces the break. Grimwolf collapses to a knee. Renault's coming at him in an instant. Keel fucking hauled. Out of desperation. Grimwolf hit it for all he's worth. Renault's down. Here comes Gable. Gable's in the ring, looking to stop that momentum swing. The ref goes to intercept him, but Grimwolf has other ideas. Dead man's chest to Sir Gable. Gable drops like a shoreline at low tide. Grimwolf collapses onto the body of Sir Renault. Is this it? 1, 2. He's been through hell, but Grimwolf could have it. Renault does not move. No, he does. He gets the shoulder up. Grimwolf has nothing left. Renault is exhausted. They stand to their feet, but Renault acts first. The last crusade. The crucifix powerbomb. The crucifix powerbomb. 1. Is that it? 2. 3 it is. The numbers game. Proved just a bridge too far for Israel Grimwolf here tonight. Vikra stand tall and Sir Gable gets a little closer to the closure he needs from his past. Who wrote that match? Good match. No one got the list, I bet. It was Hayden. Good work, Hayden. Hell yeah, you did. All right. And who wrote Bonzen and Night Lord? Props to them. I'll let Zach say in the chat. The next segment's entitled Saved. Still the same players as before. Alex wrote that one. Good work, Alex. What a match! After a moment spent recollecting themselves, Israel and Gable stand toe-to-toe in the center of the ring, but Renault keeps trying to get involved, which irks the pirate. Splish! Splash! Splosh? Israel doesn't go full neckin', but whatever he did has taken himself and Sir Gable out of the ring, and they now stand in some kind of deserted pirate ship they've teleported, by God. away from Renault's help. What do you want from me, Grimwolf? Gable asks. I don't want anything from ye, me hearty. I want to help. Sir Gable takes a step back. He rocks Grimwolf with a solid right hook. He mounts the pirate. He's choking the life out of him. I already told you, pirate, that I don't need or want saving. I found my true calling with Vaikra, and we must complete our mission. That is my only concern now. Suddenly there's nothing but water in the zealot's hands. Grimwolf appears on the other side of the room, leaning against the creaking wall. Ye forget me, hearty, that I know you. All of this religion is just a distraction. You don't believe any of it. Savvy? Of course I believe it. I believe it's my duty to play a part in bringing Yahweh back. Sink me like a galleon. And if ye believe that truthfully, then you're either 3 sheets to the wind from the finest ale, or you're practically shark bait already. Shark bait? You think you've walked the plank already, me heart, but avast, I can save you. The plank's not walked yet. This poppycock with Yahweh is just a vain hope that he can change your fate and stop you dying at Red Snow, just as it was foretold. That was like a year ago. Sir Gable storms across to him again, but stops just short of another assault. What are you saying, Israel? I'm saying, landlubber, that I can actually save your life. I figured it out. Sir Gable folds his arms, waiting for the explanation he knows is coming. Ye killed the Neckin before. Ye freed me from its clutches. I went and got it back, me hearty. Not because I want to be keel-hauled again, but because I needed to understand if I could. You see, the Neckin is a curse, but it's also a gift. Grimwolf sighs. You may think me a son of a biscuit-eater, but I need you to listen closely and leave this God-fearing, lily-livered Gable behind. Kale, I want to make ye immortal, and the only way I know how, the only way to save ye, and leans in close, I'm gonna make you the Neckin. Gable gasps in shock as we cut away. Genuinely don't remember, Zach. Possibly. Segment is interesting to me. It almost stinks of a trap. There has to be a Neckin, and so Kale is being lured to be that Neckin. Great segment, agreed. Love the character play here. And I actually think I kind of believe what Grimwolf said here. No matter what his intentions are, I don't think Gable actually buys into all of it. He just doesn't want to die. I think I am into that. All right, what's up next? Ooh, segment entitled Prey. Seesaw and Chip, Montana. We're in the toy box. We're outside of it, just hiding in the shadows outside of it. Chip Montana is there. Just 2 weeks ago, he was told he had to play a game of hide and seek if he wanted to see Dave again. But by the look on his face, he's done hiding. He scowls, crawling out from the darkness and taking a deep breath as he approaches the door, slowly pushing it open and forcing his way inside. And on the other side of that door is Seesaw and Sea-Hulk, the brothers sitting at a tiny tea party table with Dave sat next to them in front of a plate, a tiny hat on his head. That is interesting image. Oi, goody, you decided to join us for our little tea party, Mr. Montana. I'm so sorry that hotel ruined our game of hide and seek, but don't worry, we have a new game. Seesaw giggles happily, clinking his plastic cup with Sea-Hulk, who pretends to drink. Chip, meanwhile, can only look at Dave, who sets his paw on the cup in front of him and intently stares back. You think you can take me rabbit, mate? You fucking cunt? You Ronald McCuckold-looking prick? That's a good line. Chip steps forward, watching as Seesaw's smile slips from his face. That wasn't very nice of you, Mr. Montana. I wanted to set up a little play date, and you just had to stomp in and insult me. Well, you aren't getting your rabbit back. Not until you play with my brother like a good playmate. Seesaw stands up, scooping Dave up and walking to the back of the toy box, taking a seat on a comically colorful throne. Go on, brother! Show Mr. Montana how we play. Sea-Hulk gets to his feet. The toy box match is right now. Good Lord. Well, Chip managed to beat the last Seesaw brother he faced. We'll see what happens here with this one. Well, you're about to see what She-Hulk looks like, because I'm pretty sure he's got a poser coming up. There he is. There is She-Hulk. That's a big old boy right there. The match is on. Chip leaps at She-Hulk only to bounce off of his massive frame. Dawson, I know you wrote this one. Can't wait to read it. The big green bastard bell claps Chip and grabs his arms before spinning around in a circle. He laughs maniacally before letting him go and sending Chip flying into a far wall while toys rain down on him. The show host grabs a plastic Iron Man gauntlet and rushes She-Hulk. She-Hulk catches Chip, though, and pops him up. Powerbomb through the tea party table. Broken plastic reveals barbed wire underneath that shreds into Chip's skin. She-Hulk drags Chip by his leg, raking him across the barbs and tossing him away. He skips towards Chip and leaps into the air for a massive double foot stomp that Chip rolls away from. Montana points the gauntlet at She-Hulk. He fires out barbed wire darts. They catch She-Hulk in the face and he stumbles back. Montana rushes the toy collection. He's got a radio flyer wagon. He puts a foot on it and pushes himself at She-Hulk at maximum speed, but he gets fucking clobbered by a big boot. Chip hits the ground and She-Hulk lifts up the wagon before bringing the metal down across his back, over and over while jumping with joy. The metal bends against Chip's back, and She-Hulk tosses the broken toy away before grabbing a new one to play with before coming away with an extra-large, spike-studded slap bracelet. And then he slaps it around Chip's neck. Oh no, blood pours from the wounds. Montana gasps for air before She-Hulk hugs him, lifts him up into a massive belly-to-belly. It throws across the goddamn room. Chip just got snuggled. Montana puts on the bracelet, or pulls on the bracelet. He yanks it off of his throat before desperately looking for something to even the odds. As She-Hulk approaches him, he reaches into his front pocket and palms something before turning around. He jabs She-Hulk in the chest. It's a tranq dart. Chip had a spare. She-Hulk stumbles back. Chip hits him with a massive leaping knee that puts him right on his ass. He grabs one of Seesaw's favorite toys, a pogo stick with a spike on the bottom. Chip leaps on. Massive jump. Devastating bunny hop. The spike crushes into the tranq dart and impales She-Hulk even further into the chest. Chip goes to bounce again, but She-Hulk grabs onto the pogo stick, shakes Chip off of it. Despite being woozy from the dart, he still uses all of his strength to force it towards Chip, who fights with all he has to stop it from stabbing into his heart. The spike pierces skin and draws blood through his shirt when Chip grabs the nearest toy. A plastic Thor's hammer, it's Mjolnir. It smacks Seesaw across the face and sends him convulsing on the floor. The goddamn hammer is electrified. But he isn't insulated, because Chip drops it as he begins to convulse as well. He collapses before trying to crawl away. But She-Hulk isn't down yet. Even with the tranq in his system, he seems unstoppable as he advances on Chip, but he stops, grabbing a nearby box and smiling wickedly as he pours out the contents. Thumbtack, hipped, fucking Legos. Holy shit, why? Just as She-Hulk lays out his new toy, he turns around to see Chip grabbing his own. He rushes the show host and catches a weighted Hulk gauntlet to the fucking jaw. Those things must weigh 40 pounds apiece, and Chip uses them to lay into She-Hulk. I know exactly what you're talking about there. Dawson, I don't even think they needed to put anything to it. Teeth fly in one direction, blood arcs in another. Chip drops the gauntlets and hauls She-Hulk up. Down, under, driver. Sit out, tombstone, right on top of those goddamn Legos. There's no way She-Hulk can continue. Chip Montana has once again taken down one of Seesaw's brothers in the toy box. Holy shit, Chip has won two toy box matches. Thus far has lived 2 times in a toy box match. We'll see if he does live, though. Because we're going to find out now in a segment entitled Brother, Brother. The match is over. She-Hulk She-Hulk is bloodied on the floor, unable to move from the tranquilizer dart, finally taking full effect. And while Chip Montana is just happy to be alive, Seesaw is much less thrilled. He gets up from his throne, Dave hopping away as Seesaw walks towards Chip and his brother. Oh, brother, 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 brother. Seesaw walks past Chip, looking down at She-Hulk, who weakly reaches out to him, completely paralyzed from the dart. This isn't going to end well. Why can't any of my brothers be as good a playmate as I am? Why? Why? Seesaw angrily runs his hands through his hair as Chip crawls away. He scoops up Dave, the two of them hightailing towards the exit as Seesaw stares down his brother. Me try kill tiny cunty man. She-Hulk's voice is weak, but his attempts to speak are silenced by Seesaw yelling in pure anger. He stomps on the injured She-Hulk, who can't help but let out shocked groans of pain and betrayal. As pitiful as he looks, however, Seesaw shows no sympathy as he grabs hold of those weighted Hulk hands and stands over his brother. You couldn't kill him, could you? Were all our playdates for nothing? Were they? No, but She-Hulk can't even finish his sentence. Thunk, 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 crush, squish, squish, squish. Seesaw lays into his brother with those weighted gloves. They start out as meaty thwacks, but slowly turns into the sound of mush being squished and splattered all over the toy box. Seesaw just brutalized She-Hulk and doesn't seem to be stopping as his head and chest get completely caved in. If you can't be a good playmate, then I'll make you worth playing with. She-Hulk finger paint. Ugh. Chip captures a glimpse of the terrifying ordeal, covering Dave's eyes as he makes a swift escape through the doors of the toy box. Sadly, that leaves us to witness Seesaw as he slowly calms down from the rampage, letting go of the gauntlet, standing up, breathing heavily, seething where he stands. Disco Dave couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. None of my brothers can kill Chip, can they? And if none of them can, then I'll do it myself. I'll do it all myself. Seesaw stares down at She-Hulk's decimated body, taking in all of what he'd just done before dipping a finger into the gore and using it to paint a frown on his face as we cut away. That was brutal. Yeah, who was the writer of that segment? Ah, of course it was. I mean, you gave brutal. You gave brutal. Oh, wow. All right, here we go. Death Note, Sigil, taken. Sigil's satchel is sitting open upon the table before the watching eyes of Death Note. He's frustrated, clearly. Every turn, Sigil has gotten away with the crown. That's the Ring King crown. Remember, Sigil stole it. Cracking his knuckles, Death's son draws a deep breath. One more shot. He reaches into the satchel, feeling around for a particular item. Sigil's been stabbed, he's been beaten, he's been thrust into the Paradox Hotel. Death Note pulls his hand free of the satchel and is once again transported away into a death memory. And we're going back to 2015. All right. We're in a laboratory. A scientist stands with their back to us, burrowing over a table, machines whirring and clicking. Collection of strange-looking gadgets stand in display cases. Suddenly a portal opens and Sigil steps out. From behind, he grabs the sole occupant of the lab, who until now we hadn't recognized. Not until Sigil spins him around. It's Dr. Mindfuck. The mad scientist looks shocked and confused, unaware of how this strange being came to appear in his secret lab, but it matters little, as Sigil steps forward and stabs him in the chest. Sorry, Doc, but when you control time and reality, you've got to be able to get some toys to play with, and you have your fair share of toys here. Wow. The life fades from Mindfuck's eyes as he slumps to the floor. Wow, Damo, that was like the shortest thing. Yeah, he went back in time. The knife still in his chest, Sigil steps over his body and rummages about in the cabinets, pocketing a few items and knickknacks. but it's the wall of strange liquids and various vials that Sigil takes a particular interest in. He moves over to the wall, with test tubes still bubbling away, preparing yet another concoction. Sigil takes a look through the cabinets holding the liquids, until he comes to a locked cabinet with a glass door. A sign on the door is written in hastily scrambled letters on bright yellow cards stuck to the window like a warning label. Nerve Serum 103B Experimental. Sigil uses his elbow to break the glass, slipping the vial into his satchel before portaling away. We're thrust back to the present. Death Note opens his fist to reveal that very serum in his hand, now with at least some knowledge of where the silvery liquid syringe came from and what it may contain. But he's interrupted as a familiar face appears opposite him, shining a light into the dark room. Sigil appears before him, looking at the sigil? No, he's looking at the satchel. Found you, you prick. I've come to take what's mine. Death Note waves the serum before him, pointing the needle towards Sigil. The collector stops and Death Note picks the satchel up. Syringe, still pointed at his foe, like a loaded gun. You had your chance to make deals, Sigil. I'm going to enjoy every second of making you regret your choices. I'll be seeing you sooner rather than later. Death Note backs away into the darkness, leaving a frustrated Sigil to contemplate his choices. Whatever that nerve agent does, Sigil definitely didn't want it injected it to him. Hayden ruining continuity since day one. Well, maybe we'll find out. Who knows? I don't think Dr. Mindfuck showed up in OSW until, like, 2018, maybe? I don't know when it was. I don't think he even really did much. I don't remember. Ooh, we've got a match here for the double... Is it for the double feature championship? Well, I definitely didn't write this match as a title match. So anyway, Impaler, TGK, Vigor, and Cronoa in a match. I wrote this one, and I apologize in advance. There's way more story in it than there's a match. Did the Impaler kill Starboy? TGK sure thinks so. Impaler denies it. Vigor isn't so sure, and Cronoa doesn't give a damn either way. This is a heated war of vengeance, enslavement, and cold, hard brutality. The four competitors are standing across the ring from each other. TGK and Vigor on one side, Cronoa and the Impaler on the other. The kid's the first to move, but the moment he steps forward, his eyes begin to flicker blue. He falls to the mat with a thud. As he begins to glitch out like he's done off and on for the last month, Vigor rushes to his friend's aid while Cronoa looks to Impaler. Crush them. The Impaler steps forward as Vigor stands up to defend TGK, but Legion stops in his tracks, turning to face the Mistress of Chaos. No. Raising an eyebrow, Cronoa curls her lip in a snarl. No? And then, as if ensnared in shackles, the Impaler falls to his knees. With all of his might, Legion fights against these invisible chains. Cronoa, with a grin, reaches down to caress the mask of the mighty. But in her distraction, she didn't see the missile incoming. Wham! Vigor! With a huge missile drop kick to Cronoa. She hits the mat hard, coming up with rage in her eyes, as Vigor is on her. Knee to the face of Eversur. Forearm across the bridge of her nose. Expression incarnate is going buck wild on his foe. His best friend is down and out in the corner. The possible murderer of his fallen other best friend is fighting against the enslaving darkness. And if there's anyone who hates slavery, it's goddamn Vigor. But despite his vim, Vigor's up against a much bigger and stronger opponent. She catches an errant punch, rising to her full near 7 feet. She lifts Vigor up, headbutting him once before dropping him down. Implant DDT, the Pandemonium's curse, hits flush. The battle between Vigor and Cronoa is on more even ground now, but the other two battles are not. The internal battles, TGK still shuddering in the corner, his eyes flickering from blue to purple, but slowly the color fades from his eyes, and some semblance of control seems to be returning. The Impaler's roaring with all of his might, fighting the shackles of Cronoa. The mask on his face almost seems to be unsealing itself, as he uses all of his might to fight his fate. He's so close to freedom, so close he can taste it. Vigor and Cronoa fight in front of him, light and darkness dancing upon his face. Internal war rages. Can Impaler break his chains? Cronoa grabs Vigor, throws him to the rope. She rebounds. The twisted smile, the spinning heel kick, but no! The Impaler is up! Adam fucking Smasher to Vigor! Impaler nails Vigor! The mask is fully affixed to his face. Impaler kneels freely this time before Cronoa, who just grins. He lost that fight. Finish them! Impaler grabs Vigor, throwing him up onto the top rope. It can't be. He lifts Vigor up by the neck. He's readying himself to put the Prince of Party's head on a pike. He's gonna kill it with fire. No, he's not. The Karate Kid to Impaler. TGK saves his brother. But wait, TGK's eyes aren't normal. They're not blue. They're not white. They're fucking red. Cronoa rushes in with clothesline, but TGK tanks it. Rock bottom. Cronoa is sent on an excellent adventure. The Impaler's up. A spear. Doc Brown's DeLorean has taken Impaler back to the future. Vigor with a grin on his face. He pulls himself up in the corner, smiling at TGK. He approaches, belly to belly from TGK to Vigor. Nobody calls him yellow, but why did he attack Vigor? He's decimated all of his opponents. His eyes went red. He went into some sort of whatever it was. God mode, there we go. But then he wobbles on his feet, his red eyes flicker, and after a moment he falls to the ground. His eyes flickering a static-filled blue. What the fuck? Everyone is down. Everyone is down. I don't know about that. The first one to stir is Impaler, who drapes an arm over Vigor. And it's academic. Everybody is down. 1, 2, and 3. Impaler retains the championship. But it's fitting that this pointless war of misunderstandings and broken men ends the way it did, with no true victory. But what does this mean for its players? Very story-filled match. What's up with TGK's red eyes? What do they mean? What the hell happened? Impaler is given in to Cronoa. He is no longer fighting her. No longer fighting her, but we're not done with this story. We're still in the ring and TGK is down. The segment is entitled Vali. And we're going to pick up right where we left off. The dust is settled. Nothing's been resolved. As the competitors begin to come to, finally, Cronoa works to usher Impaler away. Your role in this tale is not yet finished, weapon, she says as they leave ringside. Meanwhile, Vigor crawls over to TGK to check on him. The kid's eyes are static-filled, moving with a blue glow as if a video playing. Because, of course, it is. Let's go inside of TGK's mind. The static begins to clear in his mind's eyes. It all forms into a video. One of his creators, Dr. Wywie, stands alone in a room. The shadows around him seem to be almost alive, reaching out to surround and embrace him. The very same shadows that have haunted TGK for over a month now. Wright wants to do this peacefully, but he won't allow it. Wywie cackles. If you're seeing this message, then he's begun to speak to you as well. The voice that TGK has heard. Wywie's lips curve into a sinister grin. Vali, he says reverent. Vali the wise, Vali the demigod, Vali the unstoppable. Pausing to look over his shoulder, whether to receive instruction or look for interlopers. Wylie continues. Dr. Wright believes you've been built to stop Vali, but he's a fool with no vision. You cannot stop him. No one can. So dedicated to Vali I've been that you may as well be my only child, and you will serve Vali boy, whether you choose to or not. As the video turns back to static. Back in the slaughterhouse, the generation's kid, wow, typo for me, seems to be okay, his eyes clear as he rises to his feet with the help of Vigor. With tears in the corner of his eyes, the kid looks at Vigor and just says, I'm sorry. In a flash, his eyes turn back red and he leaves the ring in a rush. Vigor is left in the middle of the ring wondering the same things we are. Where the hell is TGK going? And who the hell is Vali? As we cut away. TGK, it's all coming together. It's all coming together. Vali the wise, Vali the demigod, Vali the unstoppable. So Wywie says, is who he's been sent to stop. But Wywie says he's been sent to serve him. Will we find out any more tonight? I know the answer, and you will later. But next, we have a death match. Tag versus Ether. How much money would it take to sell your soul? For Ether and Tag, what would have been an easy payday has turned into an absolute nightmare. Forced to do horrible things, their hearts and souls broken into splinters as they've lost far more than they've gained. And tonight, the demon who took their freedom away forces them to go through one more hell. But can they survive going to war against each other? Or will this be the swan song that turns this radio to nothing but static? Very good intro text. The bell sounds as Tag and Ether circle the ring, neither of them willing to truly hurt one another. As they flick in and out, tagging each other with jabs and light punches before they stop, look at one another, and shake their fists in a rhythmic pattern. Tag throws out paper, while Ether throws out rock. The hungry girl shrugs and drops to a mat. Oh, they were going to do paper, rock, scissors, allowing Tag to cover, but the ref doesn't count. Tag gets to his feet, annoyed at the ref who just looks at the flickering Titantron. Simon is seated on his golden throne, shit-eating grin on his face. Does he have any other kind? As he shakes his head, thrusting his thumb down to remind them that this is not a normal match. This is ultra-violence, baby. As both Tag and Ether swallow hard, they know there's no easy way out. Ether delivers a sudden ether strike to the side of the head. Tag stumbles to his feet, falling through the middle rope as he collapses to the floor below. Ether shakes her head in anger before rushing to the ropes, diving over them as Tag gets to his feet, right into a tornado. Tag crashes to the floor as Ether mounts him, pounding down hard, hoping to find that knockout blow to finish this one early. But Tag's head is stupid hard, and Ether's blows don't seem to be doing much damage to him at all. Tag throws her off him as she rolls to her feet, rushing forward, but Tag catches her mid-jump, throwing her backwards, head first into the turnbuckle post. Tag visibly winces, not happy about hurting his best friend, but he shakes it off, pulling the dazed, hungry girl up to her feet as he rocks her with hard knees to the skull before lifting her high into the air. Mick twist onto the concrete floor. That could be it, but Simon just shakes his head as he watches, his thumb still pointed downward. Tag spits out in fury as he lifts up the dazed Ether and rolls her back inside. Tag looks to roll back in himself but stops, thinking for a moment how to end this quickly as possible, before his eyes flick into steel chairs at ringside. He considers it for a moment, torn between doing maximum damage quickly or doing small damage slow, before he sighs deeply, grabbing two of the chairs as he slides back into the ring. He drills Ether in the ribs a lot softer than he would other opponents. Before setting up one of the chairs in a seated position, they probably have, Ollie, he pulls Ether up, the hungry girl trying to fight out as she stumbles back with a hard uppercut, but a brutal 5-star facial sends her collapsing face first onto the seat of the chair. Tag picks up the other, his hands trembling as he eyes Simon for a moment. A giant shit-eating grin on the Taskmaster's face as he nods his head in approval. Tag scowls, mouthing out sorry to the fallen Ether, as he closes his eyes before lifting the chair up high, not noticing Ether slipping out from underneath. As she kicks the chair right into his junk, Tag doubles over, dropping the chair as he winces in pain, giving Ether a thumbs up before she leaps off the chair. The spike run onto the steel. Tag's skull slams down onto that steel, his brain rattling around as a thin trickle of blood begins to pool down his face. The hungry girl soon makes that a gusher as she leaps up to the top, riding the sky with Tag's blood. Sexy Dynamite's busted wide open as Simon just shakes his head, urging Ether to continue. The hungry girl's furious, but she just nods her head, backing up as she looks for that killer mock blow. Ether bounces off the ropes, rushing forward. Mock fucked! Tag counters with the skateboard shot, right into Ether's face, busting her wide open. Tag did that out of pure damn instinct, dropping Cassandra with disgust as he realized what he just did, but he shakes it off, walking over to Ether as he looks to finish this death match. The hungry girl looks out cold, Tag beside himself, but he swallows it down, lifting her up as he looks to put down his best friend out of her misery. Spray, no! Ether flips out, enziguri to the back of the head. The hungry girl rolls back into her corner as she wipes the blood out of her eyes, before she flips Tag off with a smirk. Tag smirks back, holding his head. They rush forward. They Ether strike the 5-star facial. Tag just dodges the spinning heel, but the bicycle kick hits flush. Ether slumps down to her knees in absolute exhaustion. Tag chuckles, kissing her softly on top of the head before he lifts her high into the air. Atomic 69, the leaping sit-out tombstone. Ether is finally done, as Simon gives the thumbs up. The ref tries to lift Tag's hand, but he pushes him away, lifting the barely conscious Ether up as the pair embrace, tears flowing down both their faces. Ether burying her face in Tag's neck as Tag just looks up, staring daggers at the looming Taskmaster, mockingly slow clapping this brutal war forced on two friends. Whew! Hot damn. Great match, whoever wrote it. Yeah, wholesome ending. That's right, Joe. All right, who's here? Who's here? Let me know who's here. Roll call. Cannot. Okay, well, that's good enough for me. All right, next segment. TGK in a segment entitled The Choice. I told you we'd find out if he was showing back up. Here we go. The red-eyed TGK stalks through the backstage area like the Terminator until he arrives at a door. Cronoa stands outside of it, waiting. Without hesitation, she opens it for him. My time in your tale is over, she says. The truth always comes to light, doesn't it? TGK doesn't answer, entering the room with purpose. As he crosses the threshold, he finds what he expected. In fact, what Cronoa told him he'd find weeks ago. It's the Impaler on his knees, waiting. Without hesitation, TGK steps forward, his crimson eyes showering Legion with light, as TGK clamps his hand around his throat. With incredible strength, the kid lifts Impaler into the air. As the same tendrils of darkness that embraced Waiwi earlier return to TGK, swirling around him and whispering directly into his ear. Do it. TGK twitches. He killed Starboy. Another twitch. Give in. This time, TGK twitches his hand, releasing Impaler, and the red light fades from his eyes as the darkness overtakes everything. We're pitch black now. We can't see anything. I understand now. The voice of TGK calls out, resolution in his voice. I didn't understand why you wanted me to kill Impaler, but I get it now. Oh, the darkness answers. The message you made Dr. Waiwi record. You gave up your game. As he pauses. Vali. Another pause. It unlocked everything. Of course Evie did. It unlocked everything. My purpose, my meaning, my foe. You. Vali, the demigod who draws power from battle. From death itself. A small white glow comes into TGK's eyes. It's so faint you can barely see it. Fighting against the darkness surrounding him. That's why you wanted me to kill Impaler. Legion. The many. That's why Cronoa was involved. It's why you didn't go public until the death of the gods. It's why you came to OSW to begin with. Endless battle, endless death. It's almost like a wellspring to draw from. The darkness retreats. Isn't that right? It coalesces into a figure before TGK. Banzan? Holy shit! Banzan is the demigod Vali? Banzan is the destroyer TGK was sent to stop? The mountain stands before TGK now, an uncharacteristic sneer on his face. Yes, he says, no semblance of deceit. Battle empowers me, death sustains me. Many have seen the truth of it, that I'm always surrounded by death and destruction. But they saw me as a victim, not as the architect of it all. Pauses. No one but you, my weapon. TGK shakes his head. I'm not your weapon. I'm here to stop you. Banzan chuckles. His veneer of peace is broken by the revelation of his true nature. You have a choice ahead of you, the choice of your makers. You can either fight me or fight for me. That's no choice at all, TGK says. You win either way. Exactly, Banzan says as he walks away from TGK, The door shuts behind him and TGK is left alone. He is shocked. He is stunned. Can he even kill Banzan? Or will it only make Vali invincible? There it is. There it is. Banzan, Vali, the demigod, the wise, the unstoppable, the powerful. It all comes together. All comes together. Banzan shows up. He is surrounded by death. And it all just makes him stronger. He draws from that wellspring. Yes. Yes, Hayden. I'm glad you're here. That's actually why I did the roll call, to make sure that you were here for this. Because I knew this was coming. I wrote this. Just a huge thing that as soon as it came together, I thought was a pretty awesome swerve. Really great way to bring it all together. Hell yeah, I love it. I love it. All right. And the story's not done. I mean, it's done for tonight, but I think you guys are going to find a very satisfying conclusion to this story as we go throughout the month. We get to see who Banzan really is. All right, I'm going to say that's the halfway mark of the show, because I finished one Powerade. All right, what's next? Oh, we're keeping the hits coming. Zero versus Storm. Zero versus Storm. We saw them in a car chase earlier. What's going down now? It was a partnership of convenience. It turned into a brotherhood. It was all thrown away through arrogance and greed, despite his reasons screaming at him otherwise. Zero trusted the one person he probably shouldn't have, and now the dickhead he thought he could believe in has become his worst enemy. Will Luke Storm succeed in proving Zero is nothing without him, or is the real fucking deal fucked up immensely and just not found out yet? Yes, I agree, Hayden. The build to this match has been phenomenal. The lights begin to flash around us, but good God, Mel and I just can't get away from each other, can we? The lights begin to flash all around us. Ooh, we're getting entrances for this one. Replicating the camera flashes of paparazzi before Stormbringer hits the slaughterhouse. Thick smoke fills the arena as the familiar Hollywood silhouette appears through its dissipating form for a moment, but then we see another rush up behind him. Steel chair to the back of the head. To the back of the head. Storm tumbles through the smoke, Zero standing above with a scowl of pure venom before he begins to rain down shot after shot to the protected Hollywood, or the unprotected Hollywood, who soon turtles up from the sheer pain. Zero's fury nearly breaks the chair in half before he tosses the crumpled frame away, peeling the bloodied and dazed Hollywood up by the hair before running down the ramp, and damn near lawn darting him skull first into the nearby turnbuckle post. Damn. Hollywood staggers back, damn near covered in that crimson mask, as Zero roughly throws him into the ring, before rolling in, begging and pleading for the asshole to get in position. Hollywood staggers up, barely able to stand. Kick, wham, punk, city, killer. Is that it already? Zero nails the stunner on the barely conscious Hollywood, before rolling into the quick cover. It's a 1. It's a 2. Is that it? 3? 3? Hot damn! Hollywood had no answer for the sheer anger of Zero here. It's over. He was absolutely destroyed by his former friend. The bell sounds. Zero celebrating. The doctor in full face mask rolls in to check on Hollywood's heavy blood loss, wiping down his face before quickly yelling something at the ref. The ref looks over before signaling to the timekeeper to stop the bell. Zero looks confused and angered, gripping the ref by the shirt collar as he demands to know what's happened. The ref squeaks out his answer. That's not Luke Storm. It's another stunt double. Behind Zero, the doctor rips off his masks and scrubs, revealing the true Hollywood Luke Storm, who slowly walks up and kicks an unsuspecting Zero right in the dick. That's one of my favorite spots my character's done, I think, right there. Zero crumples to his knees in pain, fury in his face as he looks up at Storm with that shit-eating grin on his face before he rushes forward. Lights, camera, and action. Running knee blockbuster combination. Zero slams down hard on the mat, but Storm isn't done. He rolls through. He locks in the Hollywood Vice. Storm's trying to force Zero to tap out with his own move here. The hacker refuses through clenched teeth. But that kick to the dick took all the air out of his lungs, as Storm makes it hard to breathe. Zero slowly pulls himself towards the ropes, Storm pulling back all he can as Zero's fingers just scratch the bottom rope. But he doesn't get to the rope. Storm rolls through, pulls Zero up onto his shoulders, spins around, into the eye of the storm. Fireman's carry implant, DDT. That could be it, but Hollywood is not looking for anything but that picture perfect finish here as he climbs up onto the top rope, stokes in the camera flashes and the boos from the audience. He leaps up, the thunder onto Zero's head. There it is, 200 pounds dropped right onto Zero's unprotected skull. Hollywood hooks both legs for the cover. Is that it? 1, 2, 3. No, Zero kicked out. But as Zero rolls to his feet, that may well have been the last bit of energy Zero had. The hacker slowly rises up, battered and bruised as Storm leans forward, tapping his cheek as he mockingly begs Zero to hit him. Hard haymaker. Zero swings wild as he topples to the mat, Storm's eyes slightly rolling back into his skull from the surprise blow, but he manages to stay on his feet. Nodding to himself, Hollywood cracks his neck before flipping a kneeling Zero, the double bird. Lightning strike does nothing. It's fully impacted his Zero's cheek, but Zero doesn't even move an inch. He turns his head slowly. He's trembling in absolute fury. Zero gets back to his feet as Storm staggers back. A little perturbed, he goes for another lightning strike, but Zero catches it. Elbow down hard on the joint of the knee. Hollywood screams out in pain. Zero damn near broke his knee from the force, but he's not able to scream for long as Zero grabs him around the throat, the sheer force leaving Storm struggling to breathe before he's lifted high into the air and nearly planted through the mat with absolute Zero. Storm damn near bounces off the mat from the pure rageful power as he stumbles up to his feet right in the path of an onrushing Zero. The Trojan spike Superman punch to the throat. Storm stumbles, hacking in profuse pain before he's lifted up high into the suplex position. Malwarevalence, the Sprite Bane Brainbuster. Storm's barely conscious on the mat. Zero rolls back. He slices his thumb across his neck. He rushes in. 16 gigs a ram, the Shining Wizard. Zero rolls through, bouncing off the other side. 32 gigs a ram. To the back of the head. This should be it, but Zero's not pinning. He wants Storm to suffer as he's begging for this fucking cunt to get to his feet. Hollywood slowly stumbles up, right into the double bird. Kick to the dick. Punk City motherfucking killer. Storm backflips from the sheer force of the stunner. Crashes to the mat as Zero hooks both legs with a satisfied smile on his face. That's gotta be it here. 1, 2, 3. That's it. That is it. Zero wins. Gets revenge against his former friend with such emphatic fashion. He just had to do it twice. It's a great line. Great match. Love that shit. I love the stunt double thing's amazing. And honestly, I am so sad that I didn't think of doing the stunt double gimmick the whole time. Honest to dams. Congratulations to Mel. Zach, I don't know about main event for the first world title. Still got a month. All right, here we go. I'm blind, but it's you who can't see. We've got TGK and Vigor in this one. TGK found some stuff out. And this segment is taking place sometime later. Vigor stands at the grave of Starboy with a handful of vibrant and colorful flowers. His eyes are wet and he's emotional as he takes a seat at the graveside of his friend. I'm sorry I haven't found who did this, he says with sadness, looking at the headstone. I know I promised you that I would. There's a silence as rain begins to fall around him. Things have been so hectic, he admits. I'm missing you so much, man. Wham! Suddenly, Vigor is kicked hard in the back of the head, sending him sprawling through the mud and across the grave. He gets back to his knees, scrambling for an understanding of what's going on. Crunch! Jesus Christ! His head is sandwiched between a knee and the whole fucking tombstone. They need him so hard that the tombstone breaks, crumbling in half with the ferocity. I thought this was going to be difficult, a voice says angrily as they approach Vigor once again. The Prince of Party is pulled back to his feet. He's ran backwards into a tree, the force of which shakes water and leaves from it. There's blood pouring down Vigor's head, leaking into his mouth. He spits it out. Who are you? He says through spitting blood. I'm the one who killed your friend. The person admits. Oh, hell. We pan backwards, revealing exactly who it is. It's Whisper. Why? Vigor says breathlessly. Because I've been tasked with killing you, boy. Whisper says with a growl. And your friend, he wouldn't tell me where you were. He sacrificed himself for you. How futile. I may be blind, but it's you who cannot see. Whoosh! Suddenly a white laser shoots through the shoulder of Whisper, piercing the tree just by Vigor's face. The alien drops the prince immediately, falling to his knees. It's TGK! Vigor runs toward him, stumbling as he does. We need to get away, he mutters with bloody teeth. He killed Starboy, and he's here to kill me. What? Okay, let's go. The Rainbow Party rush away, leaving Whisper down, face down in the mud. Is he dead? A breath out blows away the leaves. Perhaps not. Whisper! Whisper is the one that killed Starboy. Didn't think about that. Whisper did it. He killed him. TGK with laser eyes saves Vigor. I think we're about to see a war here. Will Vigor be able to get whatever he needs to beat Whisper? Find out. All right. Hell yeah. What a fucking show here. Make him the soldier. Ah. All right. Death Note versus Sigil. Man, Dawson's just all over this. Death Note versus Sigil. This is a road the Collector has gone down many a time. The Scion of Death standing before him in the ring, and it's always ended in a Sigil victory. But Death Note has never weakened the Collector like he is now. Bloodied, battered, and stripped of his trophies. Can Death Note finally end the life of Sigil? Or is the Collector still too fucking stubborn to die? He's a pretty stubborn motherfucker. The bell sounds as Death Note rushes forward, taking advantage of Sigil's weakened state to nearly crack his mask in half with a brutal big boot. Sigil stumbles backwards into the corner, Death Note rushing forward with a stiff knee to the jaw, before beginning to pummel him with hard knee after knee to the midsection, right where the still healing stab wound is. The Collector screams out in pain, Death Note just smiling viciously as he grips Sigil by the throat, throwing him overhead. Sigil cosmic leaps away. Death Note just stands there, not even bothering to look for where the portal reappears, as Sigil blinks back behind him, leaping up high. Death Note ducks underneath the finite. Predictable. Claw strike right to the open wound. Sigil staggers back in pain, Death Note laughing as he grips the Collector around the throat, throws the bastard right through the ropes to the floor below. Sigil crashes down like a sack of shit on the concrete, screaming out in pain as Death Note slowly climbs up to the top, sizing up his falling opponent before diving off. Kiss of no, Sigil just gets out of the way, but Death Note's up to his feet. Death's crossing. The brutal knee, the brutal sudden knee, shades of the Arthurian king himself. Sigil looks damn near out cold from that brutal knee as Death Note rolls his limp body back into the ring before covering. 1. No, Sigil gets the shoulder up at 2. It was never going to be that easy. That's my line. As Death Note quickly pulls the Collector up, rocking him with a series of knees to the jaw before lifting him up onto his shoulders. Gather, thy, no, finite. Sigil slips out of the GTS, nailing the stiff roundhouse. It stuns Death Note as the Collector pounces, emptying out the tank with every strike he can think of. Rights, lefts, elbows, knees, kicks, headbutts, throwing out everything to put down the Scion one last time. As a leaping flip kick to the jaw stumbles Death Note back, Sigil rolls backwards to the ropes, rushing forward. Light piercer, super kick right on the button. Death Note stunned as Sigil lifts him up, looking for something he knows can put Death Note down. but as he tries to drop him down onto the knee, Sigil suddenly stops, his arm going limp. As he drops the Scion onto the mat, who's holding that silver-filled syringe, that nerve, whatever it was, it's now half empty. Sigil drops to his knees, the left side of his body completely limp. As Death Note sadistically grins at his now helpless prey, he lifts Sigil's chin up before damn near breaking a few teeth with a stiff right hand. Sigil refuses to stay down, pushing himself up with his good side as he dares Death Note to do that shit again. The Scion obliges, bouncing off the ropes. He goes for Death's Crossing, but no, Sigil ducks underneath it. Death Note was ready. He's got Sigil's head with his momentum. Divine Justice, the modified reverse DDT. Sigil gets slammed into the mat, but Death Note isn't done. Peeling Sigil up almost immediately, thrusting him into his arms. The headlock driver, Father Mine. That well could be it there, a cruel taunt of what may well await the Collector if he can survive tonight, but Death Note does not cover. Instead, he pulls Sigil up to his feet, he wraps him up tightly, and he turns his final page. That has to be it. Death Note rolls through for the cover. 1, 2, 3. No, Sigil kicked out on pure spite alone. Death Note looks furious for a moment, before his eyes flick to the corner and the stolen satchel. A sickening idea fills his head. The Scion slowly walks toward it, opening it up casually as he looks inside for a moment before finding an ideal weapon, that trusty blood-red crowbar. Death Note slowly stalks forward, lifting the Collector's favorite artifact high in the air as he looks to punish Sigil with it. Sigil backs into the ropes as he tries to will his flesh into working, but his left side is still numb and he's helpless. Death Note raises the crowbar high. He swings it down hard on the left arm, but the crowbar just wraps itself around the limb. Sigil headbutts Death Note away as he gets to his feet, the steel sucking away the poison as the Collector straightens out his arm. The crowbar reforming back into the weapon he knows and loves. What? Before he cricks his other arm and urges Death Note to come get some. The Scion rushes forward, Sigil ducking underneath the right hand before smashing the crowbar into his arm. Death Note screams in pain as Sigil begins punishing him, with hard blow after blow before raising Smiley Jr. high, as he nearly breaks Death Note's skull in half with a brutal strike. Death Note stunned and bleeding on his knees as Sigil looks for the end, cosmic leaping once more before a portal emerges up high. Plane Stomper, no! Death Note just moves out of the way as Sigil rolls through. Death Note's ready. The stroke of the pen. Punt to the face out of nowhere. Sigil just got fucked with fire as Death Note just finds enough strength to roll over him for the cover. 1, 2. It's academic. 3. It has to be it. It is. I can't talk. Death Note finally does it. He finally beat the Collector. But has he served Sigil up on a silver platter for his father? Or will the Collector find the strength to survive another day? Guess we'll have to see. Death Note with that win finally. All right. We get a segment here. It's a look in the good book with Death Note and Jensen Cussen there on the right. As Death Note gets back to his feet, a smoke bomb seemingly blasts before him. As he gasps for air, he stumbles backwards, watching as the smoke fades to reveal a man we've not seen in a while. It's Corvus. Remember, no one knows that Corvus is Jensen Cussen yet. Corvus throws his stars at him, one catching Death Note clean in the shoulder as he attempts to dodge. Down he goes. The author begins bleeding, but gets back to his feet. "Show yourself, you coward," he roars, with a click of his fingers. The visage of Corvus fades, revealing Jensen Cussen. "You work for my father," Death Note screams. "How dare you attack me?" Death Note does know who he is now that you say that. "My job is to carry out the will of death. I thought you knew that," Cussen said as a reply, pulling a dagger from his waistband. "But on this occasion, it's just a warning." Death Note holds his bloodied shoulder, not understanding. "Take a look in the good book and you'll see what I mean." Jensen continues. The author clicks his fingers and the Death Note appears before him. He begins rummaging through the pages, getting to the end and stopping. Something perturbs him. "What? No, it can't be." Jensen nods. "But it is. My name has never been in this book. His name is there? How is it there now?" Death Note demands to know. "How am I scheduled to die?" The former Corvus shrugs his shoulders. "Perhaps that's a question you ought to pose to your daddy," he suggests. "You've got until the date in that book to figure it out." At red snow, on the date of your death, it'll be I who bringeth forth the end. Death Note grimaces as we cut away. Oh, snap. Death Note's name is in the book now. Jensen Cussin is coming for the son of death. All right. All right, that'll be a hell of a match. That's a hell of a reveal right there. Oh, look at this. Hope you're still here, Hayden. Oh, you are. You were like the last person that talked. Bellator versus Bellator. Father versus son. Lux versus Sanctus. They say blood is thicker than water, and the bond of a parent and child is almost unbreakable. But what if that child has become twisted and broken into something he never wanted? Lux always feared Sanctus would follow the wrong path, and thanks to the dragon, he's become just like he was all those years ago. Will Lux be forced to watch his flesh and blood make the same mistakes he did? Or can the Light Warrior bring him back into the realm of reason before it's too late? Let's find out. The bell sounds as both men circle the ring, anger in Sanctus's eyes, but there's nothing but pure sorrow in Lux's, as he half-heartedly puts his dukes up, before shaking his head and opening his arms wide in pure pacifism. An act that pisses off Sanctus as he rushes forward. Holy Wish! Super kick right to the jaw. Lux staggers back. Nobody double KO. Spitting out a glob of blood onto the mat as he turns back to Sanctus, again opening his arms in pacifism, as Sanctus delivers a second and a third super kick, each blow connecting like a gunshot. But Lux just stands there, taking it all in as Sanctus just gets angrier and angrier, before he double legs his father and begins to ground and pound the absolute hell out of him. Left, right, left, right. Lux doesn't fight back, he doesn't even defend himself, letting Sanctus pummel in black and blue as the ref looks close to calling for the bell. But Lux grabs him close, whispering sternly, let him do what he has to do. The ref backs up as Sanctus continues to pound down on his father, anger slowly increasing with each blow before he rolls off, yelling out a frustrated scream into the heavens as Lux just sits up, staring down his son still with that sorrow in his eyes. Sanctus just sneers, rolling out of the ring, grabbing a steel chair. Rolling back inside, he lifts it up high as Lux just leans back, arms wide, closes his eyes, bracing for the hit, but it never comes. Sanctus's arms shake, unable to deliver the chair shot as tears begin to stream down his face. Lux smiles as he begins to get to his feet, right into a massive chair shot in the face. Lux crashes to the mat. Sanctus smiles a sadistic smile as he drives the chair over and over into Lux's prone body before throwing the twisted mess away as he lifts the hurting Lux up to his feet, hoisting him high into the air. Yahweh's sign onto the turnbuckles. Bellator crushes to the mat in a crumpled heap of pain as Sanctus quickly heads up to the top rope. He sizes up his father. He dives, Terra Tremute to the right arm. Sanctus may have snapped the bone from the agonizing screams that echo from his father. Lux in clear pain as he stumbles to his feet, clutching his arm, but he still shakes his head, refusing to fight back. Sanctus just sneers once more, rushing forward as he flips around Lux, before slamming his right arm down hard into the mat. He locks in the arm of God. Lux screams out, Sanctus pulling back on the injured arm with all of his strength as Lux has an easy way out here to end the match. But Sanctus's eyes are still burning a blaze of fury, so Lux knows he has to stay in it. Bellator slowly pulls himself towards the ropes. Sanctus lifts himself up off the mat as he tries to torque the arm behind his father's back. But the Light Warrior refuses to give in until he can get through to his son, screaming out an agonized cry before leaping forward as he manages to grab onto the bottom rope. Sanctus refuses to let go, only dropping the hold on threat of disqualification, but it is clear that Lux Bellator is in bad shape. His right arm barely functional as he slowly sits up, breathing hard but still refusing to fight. Sanctus just shakes his head before nearly taking Lux's head off with the unholy wish kneeling super kick. Sanctus doesn't let his father fall to the mat before lifting him up, one arm around his throat as he flows through into Impertio. That has to be it. Sanctus floats through with the fury still radiating as the ref counts 1, 2, and no! Lux kicks out. Sanctus is beside himself, furious he can't finish, and furious that Lux won't fight back as he kneels down, gripping his exhausted father by the head and screaming in his face. Why won't you fight back? I won't stop until you do. Stop being a coward and fight back, please. Lux just shakes his head. barely able to keep his eyes open from the sheer agony he's been through as he forces his muscles to once again leave him wide open. Never. Sanctus shakes in pure fury, staring daggers down at his father, intending to martyr himself before he nods. He lifts Lux up, the double underhook, stunning him with a pair of knees. He places Lux's head between his legs. The anger is gone, replaced with sheer delight, as a sadistic, almost gleeful chuckle echoes from Sanctus, who looks to put a punctuation mark on this one-sided beating. But Lux double-legs Sanctus out of nowhere. Slamming Sanctus to the mat, Lux raises one arm high, looking to finally strike his son as Sanctus is almost begging for it. Can't do it, though. Arm shaking as tears fall from his eyes, Lux just shakes his head before collapsing to the mat and motioning for Sanctus to pin him. Sanctus just shakes his head, dropping down as he barely makes any effort in the cover of his father. 1, 2, 3. Sanctus has done it, beating Lux in a one-sided battle. Has Lux managed to get through to his son, or was his martyrdom all for nothing in the end? Good work, Hayden. Solid victory. I don't know how Hayden dealt with that loss. We're going to continue on with these boys to get the rest of Vaikra and Solomon Rhodes out here. With their match over, Sanctus looks down at his father. Who knows what he's feeling? Is it shame, sacrifice, empowerment? He steps back, looking towards the entrance ramp as Solomon Rhodes and Sir Renault step out to meet him. I told you I would not hesitate, Sanctus says to Renault as both men come face to face in the middle of the ring. It's time to finish it, Rhodes announces. Renault, gather him to his feet. Sanctus, this is your duty to Yahweh. End his pursuit. Rhodes passes Sanctus a blade, stepping backwards as Renault pulls a woozy and pained Lux to his feet. I'm sorry, Father, Sanctus says solemnly, but some things are more important than blood and family. You taught me that. Our good Lord needs to be brought back from the eternal damnation, and we can't allow you to stop us. Sanctus rushes forward with the blade. Only Lux Bellator falls to the floor, being tossed aside by Sir Renault. Rhodes is immediately perplexed. Sanctus doesn't know what to do. Enough, Renault announces. He steps backwards as Lux gets back to his feet, standing beside him. I always loved you. Do you know that? I would have gone to the ends of the earth for you. But despite that, you always loved him, didn't you? Oh, is that where this is going? Solomon looks disgusted. You dare to do this now? He asks back angrily. Yes, Father, Renault says, taking a deep breath. I dare to do this now. Renault Rhodes, Solomon says with a deep, disapproving tone. You're old enough and big enough to know the mistake you're making. You were gone most of my life, Dad, he continues. Rage, old school wrestling. I spent the last 15 years growing up without you. When you asked me to come here and begin this crusade, I thought you picked me because you loved me. I thought you chose me because you wanted my help. But watching Lux and the way he tried to save his son made me realize what you've shown me isn't love. You love Sanctus, not me. Lux Bellator places his hand on his shoulder. He told me about the location of death. Lux interrupts with a smile. He's helped me every step of the way. So that is the commonly dressed person that gave Lux Bellator the information that we never found the identity of. It was Renault Rhodes, Solomon's son. Deceiver! Roars Sanctus. The younger Bellator rushes Renault, scooping him up off the canvas. Down with the spinebuster. Sanctus immediately begins slamming right and left hands into him as Rhodes rushes to pull him away. The light warrior helps Renault roll to the outside, following him out. They both back away, leaving Rhodes and Bellator in the ring. You'll pay for this, Lux. Rhodes yells at him from the ring. At Red Snow, you'll both pay. It'll be you who pays, Father. Renault roars back. It's your debt that has finally come due, old man. There we go. No, it's not Rhodes versus Bellator. It's Rhodes Bellator versus Rhodes Bellator. Ollie, I bet you're tired because it is 9:34 and you are 12. I think that's it. Right. Sigil. Connected collection. All right. Maybe we're going to get some good sigil stuff here. Huge revelation there, Renault Roads. All right. Let's see what sigil's got for us. We portal in a dirty dungeon. A blue portal opening in the middle of the cell. Oh boy. Shocking its inhabitant, who we see recoil backwards. Another prison cell. Who's it going to be this time? Sigil steps through, leaving the portal open. Oh, girls get no sleep. Sigil steps through, leaving the portal open. Are you here? I can feel you. Suddenly a person appears from behind. Who is it? It's the Butcher! The Butcher is back. The Collector immediately turns, coming face to face with the man whose daughter he killed. The Butcher, though, is in no condition to fight. He's dehydrated, blistered lips and black eyes. His body is an amalgamation of wounds, scars, blood, and dirt. He soon falls to his knees, barely able to stand. You can't kill me. You just can't. I don't want to kill you, Colin, Sigil admits, kneeling to face his former foe. But the love crystal was connected to Winona, and as a result, I can feel her love for you. That makes us connected in a weird way. Is that how you found me? The Butcher asks. Sigil nods his head. I spent the longest time ignoring the feeling, hoping it would go away, but it hasn't, so I came to find out. Ah, gay. The Butcher lowers his head. Death has made it so I can't die, he groans. So that I can't return to heaven and be with my wife. He took me from paradise and is punishing me. All I want is for this to be over. The Collector thinks about it before helping Colin back to his feet. Come with me, he offers. I plan to kill Death, and when I do, I'll right this egregious wrong. For now, all I can offer is an end to your suffering. Thank you, Colin says quietly at almost a whisper. Thank you. Both of them head through the portal with a cut. Okay. That's an odd thing here. Almost feels a little too easy. A little too easy. Because isn't the Butcher supposed to be going after Sigil? I think we're going to see something interesting from that. Okay. Okay. What's next? Ooh. Here we go. The World Championship. Pyre versus Simon. The married couple. Clinch thine butthole, Alex. I want you to know that no one will root for you more than me if you win this match. But until the moment that I read, winner and new champion Simon, go fuck yourself. All right, here we go. These newlyweds have hit a dead end in their relationship. I see what you did there. Will it be the masterful king or the killer queen who reigns supreme over old school wrestling after tonight's inevitable domestic violence? Darkness. An image of a crown adorned with skulls. Oh yeah, this is even our main event, so we're through the matches here. Adorned with skulls, it's displayed on the Tron. Hail to the king blares. Out walks Tag and Ether with Simon on their shoulders. Ah, that's awesome. Simon waves to the booing crowd from atop the ramp, then gives the signal for Tag and Ether to lower him down. King Simon gallivants down. I love gallivant. That's a great word. Gallivants down the ramp, laughing as Jet Set Radio reluctantly follow behind him in lockstep to the ring. Boy, they're going to get involved in this one. Where Simon stops and demands Tag and Ether hold the ropes for him. They take an extended look and proceed to do his bidding, while Simon walks up the steps and slowly enters the ring through the open ropes. Hail to the king! Simon smiles and raises his arms as the crowd rains down on him with deafening boos while Jet Set Radio watches on. Then the lights go out in the slaughterhouse again. Darkness. Snap, snap, snap. The dulcet tones of the late, great Freddie Mercury are heard as Queen's Killer Queen blares through the slaughterhouse. The lights of the slaughterhouse flash red as wisps of fire like candles form in a circle on the stage. The fire forms into the form of pyre. forms into the form. I should have wrote that better. Her eyes glowing red. The fire surrounds her, glimmering off the OSW World Championship belt, and then dissipates as she walks down the ramp. When she reaches the ring, Simon parks it jet set to hop down and lift Pyre onto the apron, which again, they comply. Pyre waits impatiently for Tag and Ether to take their cue, and they hop up and open the ropes for her like they did for Simon, which puts a snarky smile on her face. Simon moves to the corner and vehemently applauds his wife as she poses in the middle of the ring with her championship. The ref signals for the bell to ring, and Simon mandates Tag and Ether to stand guard on the bottom of the ramp. Tag holds Cassandra in wait, and Ether pulls a package of Twinkies out of her pocket. She crinkles open the package, and she notices Tag giving her the side eye while she stuffs one hole into her mouth. She muffledly asks, "What with that attitude?" As the bell rings, Lord, can't get a good swallow here. Simon immediately, I shouldn't have said that. Simon immediately rushes Pyre and embraces her. She stands awkwardly for a moment, then hugs Simon back before the two take a step back to break this odd tension that exists between them. Simon has a knowing smirk on his face, and after a second, Pyre adopts one as well. They've been dancing around one another for quite some time now. But tonight's the night they finally dance together for what inevitably was the endgame for all their rehearsals, the OSW World Championship. And tonight is showtime. They gingerly circle one another, tie up collar and elbow, some light-hearted trash talking between the two, before Simon pushes Pyre into the corner, breaking before the ref counts to 5. Simon puts his arms up and slowly backs towards the center of the ring with a big grin on his face. Pyre maintains a calm demeanor, but you can see in her eyes that underneath the surface her blood is starting to boil. She closes in on her husband and they tie up again. Simon overpowers her with a wrist lock, twisting it in and slightly taking Pyre's breath away. She grimaces as Simon again grins, but his smile turns into a frown as Pyre cartwheels out on one arm and reverts the pressure onto his wrist now. Simon attempts to spin out for a counter, but only finds himself pulled in closer to Pyre's bosom as she leans back and drops to the mat, yanking his arm into a choke, the fire triangle. But Simon intelligently uses the momentum against her, putting all his weight on her shoulders down on the mat. 1, 2. She relinquishes the choke as she kicks out. Man and wife take a step apart to regain their composure, staring into each other's eyes as the slaughterhouse crowd begins to buzz in anticipation. It's not a matter of if, but when these two will break, and the ensuing violence will be nothing short of passionate. Simon's first to assert himself, raising his hand up and stepping forward, beckoning Pyre to engage in a test of strength. Pyre rolls her eyes, and if only just to humor her husband, steps forward and reluctantly grasps his hand. Simon raises his left arm up, and Pyre follows suit. They push against each other as the crowd begins to back Pyre of all people. Fire, bitch, fire, bitch, fire, bitch, they chant. She feeds into the energy. She pushes Simon's arms down and back to gain the upper hand. His eyes are wide. Where did this strength come from? Because fuck Simon. Simon's eyes are wide. Where did this strength come from? I just read that. He's almost forced to his knees when Pyre hears a cackle erupt from her husband. He was suckering her in. Simon gleefully pushes Pyre's arms back and towers above her, forcing her to her knees as he laughs, reveling in the crowd's boos. With one final push, he flattens her onto her back, both shoulders down on the mat. 1, 2. She slips a shoulder off the mat, and with one arm free, she partially breaks from Simon. She kips up as he maintains the other hand's grip. She ducks under his arm, gets behind him into a hammerlock. Now Simon is showing some signs of frustration. The once smarmy smile now faded into gritted teeth determination as he tries to outmaneuver the quicker, more graceful champ. But it's Pyre who has the upper hand now. She yanks her hubby around for a bit before whispering into his ear, "Shall we change positions, love?" And with that, Simon drops down on a knee and maneuvers out, whips Pyre towards the ropes, but maintains her grip on her wrist. Pyre's frozen mid-whip as Simon holds on. He spins her back around, catches her as she falls backwards into a dip. Douche nozzle. The two quarreling lovers lock eyes for a moment as this match is literally turned into a dance. Before another move can be made, Simon releases his hold on Pyre, dropping her flat on her ass to the canvas. Simon's howling laughter can be heard over the thick boos of the slaughterhouse crowd. The taskmaster is merely toying with his wife, but from the look on her face, she's none too pleased with his actions. This isn't going to go well for him, I don't think. And as the saying goes, happy wife, happy life. Pyre pops up and sprints at Simon with a rage. Their third tie-up, collar and elbow. Simon immediately snaps her into a side headlock. Wrenching it around Pyre's head, she backpedals to the ropes, whips Simon to the opposite side of the ring. She hits the mat. Simon hurtles over her. She jumps up. Simon channels his agility, ducking underneath her. And as he bounds through the ropes, Pyre sets up to take her shot. The baptism. Does remember she's a genocidal sociopath. Baptism by fire. Super kick only hits air. Simon clung to the ropes and drops down and slithers to the outside, laughing at the crowd and pointing to his head as if he knew that was coming. I love that spot. He strolls around the ring, smiling and laughing as Pyre stews in the ring. She watches Simon move and win his back to her. It seems her kettle finally blows over. Pyre sprints towards the ropes. Fireball through the ropes right into Simon. The cannonball pushes him through the barricade, or into the barricade. She's got a mean look on her face now, and it's clear the champ is done playing around. She moves with purpose towards her husband, who's leaned against the barricade. Slap! By God, she just slapped the shit out of him. The crowd erupts, and someone in the first row pours a beer over Simon's dazed head. Talk about adding insult to injury. Pyre's giggling with delight now, and someone in the crowd hands her a glass of red wine, which she knocks back like a champ before smashing the cup over Simon's head. The ref begs these two psychos to get back in the ring, and when Simon comes back to reality, the first thing he sees is her taunting him, rubbing under her eyes with a crying, pouty face. Kick to the gut. Pyre doubles over Simon with that one, drags him by his wet, greasy hair towards the apron, slamming his head off of it to the crowd's delight before rolling him back into the ring. But before Pyre rolls in herself, she shoots a look back towards Tag and Ether, who are watching on with the rest of the crowd. Tag nods at Pyre, and Ether, who's now guzzling down a bottle of Surge, hell yeah, raises her body to the champ as if to give cheers. Pyre slides back into the ring, and Jet Set Radio turn their attention back to the entrance stage as Simon scrambles to his knees. In a twist of fate, Pyre now towers over Simon, who pathetically begs Pyre to stop from his knees. She looks to the crowd, laughs, and shakes her head as she steps towards her husband, but gets poked in the eyes. That little distraction was all that Simon needed to regain the upper hand. Simon, back to his feet, stalks the blinded Pyre from behind and rushes her. The spinning back fist connects the gambit. She drops to the canvas. Simon's hooked the leg. Is this it? 1, 2. Has Simon extinguished Pyre's flame? No. She blindly kicks out. Simon aggressively begins dropping knees onto Pyre now, over and over again, until he switches it up to straight stomping on her. Then he grabs her knee and twists it around, loosening up the joint before repeatedly slamming it into the mat. The crowd again showers him in boos, and he stops to look around. Pardon me, is this the dance you all came for? He obnoxiously asks of the crowd. He picks Pyre up like a rag doll, arm behind her back, other arm holding her hand in a ballroom dancing pose, and proceeds to jauntily waltz around the ring with her limp body. Fuck you, Simon, as they chant. The crowd's chant enrages the masterful king, who stops dancing and locks in a tight headlock around Pyre again. He charges towards the corner, bulldog into the turnbuckle, the Torre attack. Simon sits down next to his downed wife, throwing his arms up to the jeering crowd. What, you wanted the foxtrot instead? He quips. Simon drags her body to the middle of the ring and lifts a leg up. Well, the king does what he pleases, Simon shouts. He puts her in the figure 4 leg lock. The queen's in checkmate. But this jolts Pyre awake. The champ's not going out without a fight. She reaches towards the ropes, dragging herself closer, but Simon rears back and puts more pressure on her knee. Pyre's in a bad way, her face depicting pure agony, the hands of her very own husband. The ref asks if she gives up. No, she shouts, shaking her head. But Simon's not taking it easy. This is his shot at the gold, and he'll be damned if anything comes between him and his prized possession. Pyre rocks to the left. Simon shakes his head no. She rocks to the right. But Simon bridges into the figure 8 before Pyre can reverse the submission. She has no choice but to try to reach the ropes now. She shrieks as she pulls herself and Simon half a foot closer. She's almost there, but her face is telling that she may not have the strength left to make it there. She's fading. Her eyes are closing. She lifts her arms up. Is she going to get it? And shrieks like a banshee. She uses every bit of strength she has left to grasp the bottom rope. Rope. Break. The ref separates Simon off his wife and he takes offense. Getting up in the ref's face for putting his hands on him. He pushes the ref and the ref angrily pushes Simon back. He won't bow to the king. The ref has the authority tonight. Simon stumbles backwards. Roll up from Pyre. 1, 2, 3. No, Simon kicked out at the last millisecond. But Pyre's limping around. There's not much left in her tank. Simon sprints at her now. The lariat. Ducked by Pyre. Simon bounces chest first off the ropes, stumbled backwards into Pyre's chest, and she locks his arms up behind him. Tiger suplex bridged into a pin. 1, 2. No! Pyre's leg gave out before the 3 count. She grasps her bad knee. Simon cackles, standing above her, relieved at his stroke of luck. He lifts her up by the hair and stuffs her head in a familiar place between his legs. He's got one arm. He's thinking for the pedigree. He lifts the other one, but Pyre spins out on her good knee. She's behind Simon. She turns right into the baptism by fire. Both competitors crumple to the mat after that massive super kick. Pyre got everything with that kick, and Simon may be out cold, but her knee is really jacked up. 1. The ref starts the 10 count as both competitors lay on the mat. 2. There's no movement from Simon as Pyre struggles to get to the ropes. 3. Pyre reaches the ropes, but Simon is literally and figuratively down for the count. 4. Pyre pulls at the bottom rope. There looks to be some movement from Simon. 5. On the outside, Ether is anxiously hoofing down popcorn and is sipping on a white cherry icy as she eerily watches on, and Tag elbows her to focus her attention back to the entrance stage. 6. Pyre has a hold of the middle rope now, and Simon shakes the cobwebs out of his head as he stirs. 7. Pyre grasps at her sore knee before she can pull herself up, and Simon is rolling over onto her stomach. You don't want to know, Dawson. 8. Pyre grimaces as she reaches an arm up to the top rope while Simon gets to his knees. 9. Pyre shrieks as she pulls herself up to her feet. Simon's up on his own 2 feet as well. Both competitors are up. Pyre braces herself against the ropes as Simon charges at her. Boot to Simon's midsection. Fire in the belly. The X Factor plants that bastard right on his face. Pyre limps over to the corner and lifts herself up onto the second turnbuckle. As Simon gets up to his feet, she shakes her head at him and flips him the old dirty bird before leaping at him while he turns. The dancing flame. She eclipsed her husband. That's a great line. All Pyre can do is throw an arm over Simon's chest as the ref counts. 1, 2, is this it? That wasn't the dance Simon was bargaining for. Is this it? It's a lot of ellipses. 3, it is it. Pyre retains. The Killer Queen. The fire bitch just bit Simon's head off after she finished up with him. Somebody read my roleplay. Hot damn. Great match. Of course, somebody would hit the LOL Wayner wins. Great match. Great match. Hot damn. Good effort, Alex. Like I said, I was rooting for you. Yeah, I don't think this is going to be a loving embrace, Mikey, since we have these individuals here in a segment entitled Arrested Developments. After that grueling OSW World Championship match, Simon and Pyre are back to their feet, embracing in the middle of the ring as husband and wife. To them, whoever won is irrelevant. As they celebrate, Ether and Tag slide into the ring. Spares at a wedding. Simon grabs himself a microphone. Tonight, the Blackhearts showed the world why we're the best combination in old school wrestling history. A dominating pair of brilliant and worthy contenders for that beautiful title. He points at the gold on Pamela's shoulder. But unfortunately, my shoulder remains unadorned, doesn't it? He says with a wry smile. However, not for long. You two stole our tag team championships from us, and right here tonight, I'd like them back. I think it's about to go down between Jet Set Radio and the Blackhearts. Oh, wait, I don't think it is. Because what we hear is bad, bad, motherfucker, till the day I die. Lights around the slaughterhouse flash black and white as the screen goes grayscale. When the line froze, what did I see? A bad motherfucker standing next to me. This bad motherfucker by Machine Gun Kelly picks up, outstruts Zero with a smirk on his face. As the music dies down, he pulls out a microphone. You motherfuckers never cease to amaze me, he says to cheers from the crowd. What do you want, bitch? Pyre replies angrily, now with a microphone of her own. Zero smiles. Did you really think we were finished, you cunt? He likewise replies to her rolling eyes. We're not finished till I fucking end you. But you know, as much as I can't wait to beat you for that title your dickless husband couldn't take, I'm not here for you yet. He clicks his fingers and the Tron rolls. Footage. Oh, here he goes. What has he got footage of? It's from a CCTV. It shows Simon, oh no, inside the Jet Set Radio warehouse, beating the holy shit out of Wiz. No, he didn't. Simon didn't do it. Ether and Tag look on in shock as they watch Simon string Wiz up and hang him right there in front of them. Oh boy. How the hell did you get this? Simon demands to know, looking utterly flabbergasted. Ether asked me for a favor, and I guess I just couldn't say no. He says with a wink, Ether did this. That's who she was talking to earlier. Zero. Simon is the one that killed Wiz. Ether and Tag look distraught, and understandably so, when you think about it. Simon murdered Wiz, and he did it in cold blood. He got his own hands dirty. I'm gonna fucking kill you. Ether roars at the mastermind. Whoa. A voice suddenly interrupts. It's Luke Storm, who struts out onto the stage, alongside a surprised Zero. I hate to be the party pooper, but this looks like too much fun. What is Luke Storm doing here? The fuck you want? Zero questions angrily. Storm puts a finger up to silence him. The minute you started rolling that footage, I just knew what we were going to see. I had to think about it, you know, he says with a shrug. But in the end, I'm a law-abiding citizen, and I just had to do the right thing. I found these guys backstage, and you know, Luke waves back towards the entrance, and out walk numerous police officers, heading down towards the black carts. Simon doesn't know what to do with himself. He's looking around like a cornered dog. You son of a bitch, Zero yells at him. You stupid fucking cunt. Oh, you thought I was done with either of you? Storm remarks with a smile. Don't be fucking stupid. At Red Snow, bad motherfuckers are gonna finish this once and for all. And if you think for 1 second I'm gonna let this motherfucker get involved, you got another thing coming. Enjoy prison, Simon. I hear you can have a great time with dropping the soap. Right, Pie? The police quickly grab Simon and place him in handcuffs, dragging him away, as everyone else looks on in frustration. I can't believe that Simon getting arrested was the real cock tease here. But at Red Snow, bad motherfuckers go toe-to-toe with one another. Zero, Storm, and Pyre. And it looks like it's going to be for the championship. That'll be badass. And I have a feeling that Ether and Tag aren't going to let Simon just have a nice, easy jail sentence. That was pretty fucking awesome. That was great. This show has been great, man. But I don't think we're done. I think we have at least one more segment. That's not a closer, Alex. We're not done. We have one more segment, just based on how much of the show is left on the scroll bar. The end is nigh. Here we go, the closer of this penultimate event of the volume. Volume 2, started in 2019. We're in the Glass Tower, in the middle of space, in the great beyond. We arrive to the watching eyes of something or someone we've not yet seen. That being is watching hundreds of monitors, engaged entirely in the acts seen upon them. His aide stands beside him. All we can see are the monitors. One showing Sigil as he talks to the butcher. Another shows Whisper attacking Vigor. Everything flows in the right direction, the woman says confidently. Happily, it seems. I have no qualms with what I'm seeing, sire. In that moment, Sigil portals the butcher away, and the Generation Kid is there to save Vigor, the woman who we can't see clears her throat. These pesky mortals have not an ounce of retreat, surrender, or defeat in them, sire. But rest assured, you'll be pleased to know that while there are still variables in play, the end is nigh. Suddenly, the sound of a large bang startled us, shaking the monitors and the whole glass tower. Okay, the end is nigh, you have my word. Everything will conclude at Red Snow. Okay. What the fuck does that segment mean? Everything concludes at Red Snow. That is very ominous. This is very, very ominous. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I do not know. Okay. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, Mikey. Is it going to be something that has something to do with that or not? I feel like it's real easy to say it's going to, but who even knows? Call that show a slut because it fucks hard. Yeah. All right, guys. Oh, we got to hydrate. I don't know why my sound alerts aren't playing. I have to work on those. Glad you enjoyed, Cave. Glad you enjoyed. All right, guys. So, OSW live events. Yeah, we've been here almost 2 hours, Ollie. Or I think over 2 hours at this point. OSW will be back with OSW Forever, which is a potentially canon, potentially not canon event that will have a bunch of old characters from the past returning. That event will take place, I think, the 10th, December 10th. Dean will be hosting that one at Rage Smash, so that should be a really good event. I know Dean has got plenty of stuff planned to go on during the following week, including the reveal of the Volume 3 characters and a pre-snow event. And then on the 17th of December, our Christmas tradition, Red Snow. The end of the volume, the end of everything. So that'll be a great show. I'll have the host on that. It'll probably take place at our usual time, not the later time we did tonight. But thank you guys for coming out. This actually had a huge amount of viewership. So in terms of what we normally get, I mean, not really that big of a difference, but like 16, usually have 16, 17. This was like 20, 21, which that's big for me. But thank you guys for coming out, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.